Andy Knockout 84. Chris Riddle, TNA Wrestling 12 is in there. I think I got most of you.
I'm not sure if Legend Killer's there, but I know he's a listener.
The Wigger 420 is in there. Lots and lots and lots of people. Super KO. Did I already mention him? I might have. All the guys. Olive Green 33 is in there. WZROnline.com /chat. Maybe we'll do some more shout-outs here in just a little bit. Like to gotta give props to the people in the chat. You know what I mean? Every single week they're always here. So that's awesome to see. What else you got for me, Jose? You know what? I got an exclusive bit. I'm gonna put this up on WZROnline.com only after the show goes off the air. It's only going to be on that website, and then it'll be out on the other websites here in the next few days. But over in TNA, they're doing a storyline, Samoa Joe's Nation of Violence. And basically it's going to be a group of guys. And for some of you old school ECW fans and new school ECW fans, you may like this. They are planning to bring back several former WWE stars, former ECW originals, those names being Balls Mahoney, Spike Dudley, Dr. Stevie, and former ECW champion Bobby Lashley. They're going to bring them back and have them form a stable, Samoa Joe's Nation of Violence. And basically the plan is Taz is going to come in and be a part of that group as well. So you've got a bunch of former ECW guys that are going to come in, kind of like a little ECW original invasion of sorts. Well, Lashley wasn't an ECW original, but
he was on ECW, of course.
Yeah, he was on. He was a former ECW champion, no doubt, in WWE's version of ECW. But yeah, we're going to put that up on the website here after we go off the air on WZROnline.com. So we'll have some more on that. But I figured I'd give you guys the scoop here first on WZR Radio. So that'd be interesting to see, man. Would that get you tuned in to TNA? Huh? I know you're sometimes a little bit iffy on Thursday nights. You know what I mean?
Great. Another alliance in TNA.
Yeah, well, that's true. You got the
it's cool. They're trying to do things different, and I admire that. I really do. Is it going to make me tune in next Thursday? Absolutely not. You know, it's another alliance joining in. I mean, you know, you have Kurt Angle's group. So it's...
Listen. After watching...
Here we go.
I know. Ding, ding, ding. It's on, baby. It's on. TNA versus WWE.
Let's get ready to rumble!
All right, so, listen. After watching... I'm not saying TNA is great, all right? I'm not, because they have their flaws, too. You know what I mean? But as far as, if you were to ask me, okay, and this is just my personal opinion, if you were to compare the last 2 weeks of Monday Night Raw to the last 2 weeks of TNA Impact, unless you simply hate on TNA just for the same reason you probably hate on John Cena, just because you will not give them a chance, whether it's John Cena, whether it's Impact on Thursday, you just will not give TNA a chance. But you cannot tell me, there is no way that anyone can tell me that the last 2 weeks of TNA Impact have not been better than WWE's Raw. And SmackDown's been great, all right? SmackDown on Friday nights, I don't always get a chance to catch it, but it's been decent. I caught the first hour before we went out to the bar on Friday night, and, you know, it was decent stuff. But as far as WWE, just as of late, I'm an older fan. I'm a little bit older, you know, and I think TNA as far as insulting my intelligence, you know what I mean? I just feel like it's embarrassing when I have people over and I have to put Monday Night Raw on while they're here, you know what? And I don't feel that way about TNA. I think you get the high flying stuff over there, and they don't insult me as much as WWE does, especially in the last 2 weeks. You know, I mean, that's just my opinion. I know you probably haven't watched TNA in the past few weeks, but I know
But you know what? I take your word, because the last 2 weeks of Monday Night Raw has been dreadful. I mean, I watch SmackDown, so on Friday night, but when I get a chance to sit in front of the TiVo and see it, and at this moment, I'm actually more of a SmackDown fan than the Raw fan, because it's just, maybe because I'm just hard. And I know people like, oh, you know, you don't follow TNA, you don't follow any other wrestling organizations, you only really follow WWE. Well, it's just my liking. You know, I'm a baseball fan, but I'm a Yankee fan, and I follow the Yankees and only the Yankees.
So, I mean, is it just you don't want to go, you don't want to give the underdog a shot? I mean, what is your exact reason for not saying, you know what, every Monday night I tune on the TV and I watch Monday Night Raw? Why don't you say on Thursday night, you know what, TNA's on? What's the exact reason why you don't give their product a chance?
I've been watching Raw for almost over 20 years, so it's a religious thing for me to watch Raw. Even as much as I hate the episodes, but I'll be a straight shooter. If it's an excellent show, I'm going to let it known. If the show sucks, I'm going to let it known as well, only because that's just how I am. But like Thursdays for Impact, I sat there. I watched some of the shows. I watched a few hours of TNA before, and it doesn't close me. I mean, there's some storylines that are like, wow, that's awesome. They have some really cool, different ideas, you know. But again, it's, you know, that Southern-style booking, and I was never a WCW fan. You know, every single week I wasn't watching Nitro. I was watching Raw. I wasn't watching Thunder. You know, I wasn't watching anything on you know, I'll follow it because we're in this industry and it's part of our job to know what competitors are doing. But I was always a true Raw follower.
But back in the heyday, you never flipped back and forth between WWE and WCW. Remember when WCW was on from 8 to 11, they always had that extra hour right before.
Of course I watched the first hour of Nitro.
Yeah. But you never flipped back and forth between Raw and WCW when that was on back in the day, between Raw and Nitro back in the I always used to flip back and forth. I mean, Raw...
I used to record every single Raw back then. I have literally 4 boxes in my basement for maybe 4 years of Monday Night Raw.
Now, what about, all right, you were an old school fan of ECW, right? You were, I mean, you liked that product and
of course, absolutely. It was different. Okay. It was extreme.
Yeah, it was extreme, but okay, all right. But they're going to do this new stable, right? So you've got a bunch of your old school ECW guys, and they've also got guys, you know, major name former WWE stars, and Kurt Angle, Booker T, Kevin Nash. I mean, lots and lots of bigger names. So I don't know. It's hard to explain, man. I mean, I would think. Basically, I would think, you know, if you were a fan of the old school ECW, that was like your underdog promotion, you know what I mean? That's the guy that you rooted for to come up, you know what I mean, and make a name for themselves. And I guess I kind of feel that way about TNA, you know what I mean? The underdog, you want them to succeed, you want competition in the business, and I'm entertained. You know, when I watch that show on Thursday night, I come out of that show on Thursdays more satisfied than I do with pretty much any Monday Night Raw, you know, especially the last 2 weeks. I mean, I'm not saying TNA is perfect, because it's not. It's really, really not. They've got their flaws, you know what I mean? But it's different, and you can see that a lot of their booking is different. Don't get me wrong, some of the things that WWE does, TNA's done as well. I'm not saying they're completely different, da-da-da-da-da. It's just they do things different. They're building stars, younger stars, and I guess I'm more about, you know, wanting to see the underdog succeed. You know what I mean? And
don't get me wrong, I want TNA to succeed, because if TNA succeeds, then it only puts more pressure to WWE, and then that's when their real talent comes out, is when they are in a back. You know, perfect example, the Monday Night Wars. You know, Raw was recorded every 3 weeks. You know, until Nitro started coming on live every single week, and then they moved it to every 2 weeks. And then, you know, Eric Bischoff came out and started announcing results, and it said, all right, you know what, we need to do this every single week. So I thrive for competition. I thrive the fact that TNA, I want them to pull the 2s. I want them to pull the 3s. I want them to really, literally have Vince fans poop in his pants.
Exactly, and if they did pull that, you know, TNA pulled a 2.7 or a 3.0, which obviously isn't going to happen for quite some time, but they're on a roll here. They're doing the 1.3s. They did a 1.2 last week, but they're doing the 1.3s now. So, let's give it some time. But let me tell you this: if you did have competition, you did have TNA drawing a 2.8, 2.9, 3.0, you can bet that the WWE product, I believe, would be a lot more risque. Maybe not the PG rating. Things would change. Things
absolutely,
definitely change.